Love that sound. Hey, y'all. What's good? What's good, y'all? Y'all here? Y'all here yet? Are y'all here yet? I'm live. Hey, 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 hey. What happened to that? What happened to that? I turned it off. That's what happened. Hey, what's up, man? I'm about to go in, so y'all just join in. Just listen, just listen. That's why I like doing these lives where you can only comment, but you can't say, like, I don't need to bring you on the screen with me. We don't need to be on the screen together. We don't need to be on the screen together. You need to be right there. I need to be right here. And we just need to be tuned into this high vibration right now. Okay? All right? All right. Those of you who are here, if you're catching this live, it was meant for you to catch it live. It was meant for you to catch it. And that's because that's he who have ears, let him hear. And those who are listening are those who have ears, who heard the call go out. You have ears. That means you are always, what that means is you're always living from the spirit. You're always listening for the time of when spirit is speaking. Let me say all of that again because you need to hear it more importantly. Those who are here, you are here because spirit, you live in spirit. And because you live in spirit, you're always hearing when spirit is speaking. You're always hearing when spirit is speaking. You're always tuned in for when spirit is speaking. You're always tuned in. You're always searching for spirit. And when spirit speaks, you find the channel, which is Omaka the Light's channel. You find the channel and you tune in because you're tuned into spirit. So when spirit is speaking, you can hear it because you are tuned into spirit. So you hear spirit speaking because you're tuned into spirit. Okay? So now, with all of that being said, one second. With all of that being said, tonight is a night where I'm going to talk to you about, as I pour up a glass of red wine. Tonight is a night where I talk to you about the task of the natural man, land, laws, and leadership, and language. I said leadership before, but it's language. Because leadership is something that I kind of see as like, it's going to get talked about. It's going to get woven or weaved into all of it. So, land, laws, and language. When you are, beloved, excuse me, let me introduce myself. I am the light, the luminary, your holistic spiritual master and healer, Omaka the light. And you must follow the light that is within you so that you can hear from the light that is within me, because I speak from and to the light. So if you're following the light within you, you would amen or ashe most of what I say, because it's speaking to the light that is within. I only speak from the light. Why? Because I only speak from my heart. And when I speak from my heart, I'm speaking light. And the reason why that is so, why is it so when someone speaks from the heart, they're speaking light? Because truth, beloved, is that thing that opens people up, whether it be raw or whether it be uncut and not raw, whether it be raw truth or whether it's not as harsh as raw, but it's just truth. It still opens one up. Why? Because you are speaking from your heart. And most of the time, when you're telling somebody about themselves, when you're telling somebody about their life, their lifestyle, 9 times out of 10, they may not want to hear it, but they will know that you are right. Why? Because they know that you mean well when you speak it from your heart. They can feel the intention. When you speak it from your heart, the intention is felt. And so people may not want to hear the truth sometimes, but when you're speaking it, they know it's coming from a divine place, not an ill intent place. That's not what we do and where we come from. So light beings live in the heart, because that's where the light comes from. When you're speaking reality, truth, when you're speaking the facts to someone, it opens them up to say yes sir or amen or ashe or repeat that or something, because it's just that powerful the way the light speaks to the light. So, land, laws, and language. I keep saying leadership. The reason why I put language instead of leadership, language is more important than leadership. In order to establish leadership, you must establish your language. But let's not jump the ship right now. Let's stay in the beginning process of all of this. So, when we talk about the task of the natural man, what does that look like? Number one, let's begin to break down land, okay? Let's talk about land. Virtually and factually, let's not even say virtually, but factually, the man, not the man, not male, not the man, but man, okay, not men, but man. There's a difference between men and a difference between man. I'm not talking about men right now. I'm talking about man. Man was given the earth. It's been given to men to take leadership and establish law on earth. But man, both man and woman, has been given the earth. Okay? So let's establish what that even looks like. Man has been given the earth to rule, to reign, to establish his dominance. And man, and I'm talking about men now, and I don't want to keep differentiating. Just follow me. And men, part of their natural role in life, in nature, part of men and their natural role in life is the desire to establish territory. This is why we have borders. This is why we have armies. And this is why we have, freaking military. This is why we have borders. This is why we have armies and militaries. For the establishment of land. It is to say, this is our land within these borders. You can't cross these borders. And if you do decide to breach these borders, there will be war. That's why there is armies. That's why there are armies. There are armies simply to protect land. Man's nature, man's first nature is to establish his dominance by establishing his territory. He needs territory, wants territory, must have territory to establish his dominance and a presence within nature. So he must have land. It is our natural right to establish territory. It is our natural right to subdue a piece of the earth for ourselves. You understand? And so now once we establish territory, we establish those borders. Here's where you cannot cross. You cannot come across these borders. This is why lions go around spraying. This is why cats spray. They spray to mark their territory. They mark off. Cats do this. Dogs do this. They mark off a piece, not just a piece, but they go in a perimeter. They mark off in a perimeter their territory. And once you breach these borders, it's war. So man desires to establish dominance by establishing land. It is his desire to do this. He wants to do this, must do this, has to do this in order for there to be peace. There would be no peace if there is no establishment of land, because people would just run amok and go and take whatever they want. But we can't do that, can we? There's borders all over the world. Now, I'm in Costa Rica right now. Costa Rica does not have a military. They do not have an army. So if someone wanted to come over here and take over their little country, they probably could. Why? Because they got no self-defense. They got no self-defense. They got no military, no army. The president did away with the army decades ago. So Costa Rica has no military, no army. They can come over here and take the land from these people, and they can do nothing about it. So you must establish territory, land. You have to. So that you establish your position in your alpha maleism, your leadership role. You establish your leadership role. You establish your leadership role in life. I don't think this video is going to be that long today. This audio cast. I'm saying that because I am quite tired. I don't know why. It's early over here. For me it is. I don't go to bed till 12:31, but that might be because I'm still on East Coast time. All right, back to the message. Man must establish land. It is his natural job, his task. The task of the natural man is to establish land. to establish his dominance, his power, his prowess, his alpha in the universe. You understand? Okay. Now, man must also, within that land, he has to establish laws. Man wants to have land, and then he wants to establish laws within those lands. And these laws are not like bad laws, because if the natural man is the natural man, then his laws would be would fall in accordance with nature. His laws would fall in accordance with nature, and it would cause no harm. His laws would cause no harm because his laws fall in line with nature. So if man established land, once man established land, he will and must establish laws. Now, what are laws? Laws are just disciplines to keep things in order. Laws are just disciplines to keep things in order. So there is no chaos going on within that territory. So that there is no craziness. There's nobody going haywire. There's nobody getting raped left and right. You know what I'm saying? So man must establish laws within that land. So it's a form of protection. This is his natural duty. Man wants to establish his own law so that he is establishing a form of protection for himself and his way of life and those that he breed and that come after him, his seed, his legacy. So man wants to establish land. Secondly, establish laws. Those laws are disciplines that must be ordered and followed. When you go to the next border, there are different laws and there are different disciplines, but nonetheless, they're still there. You must adhere to them. And so I have come to realize that nature has its own laws, and I don't need to follow their laws. I just need to follow the laws of nature. And because I am a natural man, I'm automatically going to fall in line with following the laws of nature. I'm going to fall in line with that because I know that the laws of nature are peace and love and harmony and good and kindness. I understand the laws of nature, but what most people don't understand is that once out in nature, once put back into natural environments, they are forced to learn. And the thing is with people, they don't want to break old ways of learning in order to learn a new way. They don't want to break old ways of learning in order to recondition in their psychological mind from all of the old stuff that they're used to learning new stuff. They don't want to recondition their mind to do that. They want to stay stuck in their ways. They don't want to change. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to have laws to establish discipline and order in the land. You understand? This is the natural role of the natural man. Once the natural man has land, he must and will establish laws. There are some things you cannot do when you come into my house. There's some things you cannot do when you come into my center. There's some things you just not allowed to do. Why? Because there is order in my stuff. There's order in my place. There's disciplines that are practiced within my home, and there's disciplines that are practiced within my business, my company. You will not come in and do what you desire to do because you're unruly and you have no discipline. You understand? Just because you're unruly and have no discipline doesn't mean everybody else need to be as stiff like you in order to have, discipline. We're not going to have people being stiff like that. We need land, and then we need laws in that land. We don't need you over here trying to do whatever you want. No, we need people with discipline. We need people who know how to take order. We need people who want to be led. We need people who want to do the natural work that it takes to establish a more natural living environment. Now, when I talk about a natural living environment, am I talking about going back to the days of our ancestors when they lived in the bush and they lived in teepee huts and they lived in tents and stuff like that? Absolutely not. I'm not talking about let's go back and live in tents and teepee huts and tikas and live in little small villages. Let's go. Let's go do that. Let's establish little small tiki hut villages amongst you. No, let's not be dumb. Let's be smart. Let's not be a dumbass. Okay? Excuse my French, my language. But let's be smart about this. What do we want to do once we get land? Well, you need a leader who can establish laws. I've been establishing laws in my place for almost a year now. I've been establishing discipline. Anybody that comes into my home comes in with respect. Because why? Because my house shows you, my home shows you how to have respect for yourself when you walk in there. That's what my house shows you. My home shows you how to have respect. Once again, you don't just come into my house and you start throwing things. You're not going to do that because my house is not an inviting place like that. You're not going to come in my house and start trashing everything. You're not going to come in my house and even want to walk on the floor with your shoes on because my house doesn't invite that kind of energy to it. My house invites love, peace, joy, type of happiness and energy to it. So those who don't get to visit my house, don't worry. You understand? You're going to be visiting the retreat center, the big part later. But this is why I emphasize on, establishing laws and establish land and establishing laws. Because there must be some discipline. There must be some order followed. If there's no order, then you're going to have a flurry of people. You're going to have anarchy. You're going to have anarchy. Point blank period. Within your own place. You're going to have anarchy. And we don't want anarchy. We don't want anarchy. We want peace. We want love. But we also understand that sometimes some things got to get stirred up too. Some things got to get stirred up. It's perfectly okay. Let it get stirred up. You understand? So the natural man must establish law because it's in his DNA, his nature to do this. Land. He must establish land because it's in his nature to do this. He wants to do this. This is why you got borders today. This is why there's armies today protecting those borders. Because the natural man desires to establish land. He desires to establish a piece of land. He desires this. Secondly, he desires within that land for there to be order, not chaos and confusion, but order. Order. You understand? Thirdly, the natural man. Last but not least, the natural man must establish his own language. You cannot speak the language of your oppressor or any other person that's oppressing you. You cannot speak their language. Why? Because then speaking their language, number one, takes you away from your language. Number two, takes you away from your connection to your language, your roots. Number three, it takes you away from the purpose. It takes you away from the whole purpose of doing all of this. So when you got language, what you do is you create a natural separation. I'm in Costa Rica right now. You know what Costa Rica said? That Spanish will be their first language, not their second language. It will be their first language. So when you come to Costa Rica, you got to learn how to speak Spanish because they're not going to make everything in English just for you. They're not going to make everything in English simply for you and your comfort. No. when you leaving, you know, wherever you are, your comfort zone, and you come to a natural environment, you best be ready to leave and be ready to fulfill the need of nature. Because nature has fulfillments that need to be fulfilled, have orders that need to be fulfilled. You understand? And so man must establish language because that's a natural separation. Costa Rica said Spanish will be their first language, not English. So you gotta learn Spanish when you come here, or else you won't be able to fit in. And why is language important? Because it creates a natural separation from you and your enemy, or you and those who are no good for you, you and those who are unhealthy for you. It creates a natural separation. You want to have a natural separation. You want to have a natural separation from all others. So man needs first land. He desires land to establish his dominance, to establish his prowess, his power, and his authority. And with that land, man desires to create law. Most men, almost all men, are not going to have a piece of land somewhere that they call theirs, something that they call theirs, they call their home. They're not going to establish that only for you to come in and be unruly, to be just like so put to sleep like you don't know what's going on. That's not going to happen. Your percentage is not going to go up. You understand? Your percentage is not going to go up. You must establish a natural born separation. This is healthy for you and your people who follow. When you have your own language, you keep them guessing on what you're doing. But if you don't have a second language, you need to learn one. You need to learn the second language. I'm learning Spanish as a second language. And you got to learn Spanish in a country like Costa Rica because they've established that Spanish is their first language, not their second language. But a natural born separation is language. This is a natural born separation between you and all others. So when you speak like your enemy, your oppressor, you're speaking his language, and therefore he can read your countenance. He can read your energy. He can read what you're plotting simply because you speak his language. Because you speak English, he can read your whole countenance. But if you don't speak English, if you're not an English speaking expert, if you don't speak English and you're not an English speaking expert, then guess what? Those who don't understand English is going to have a hard time following you too, listening to you too. But more importantly, Costa Rica said Spanish will be their first language. And they took all the beans back. And why do I say they took all the beans back? Why do I say they took all the beans back? Because they virtually stopped the propagation. They virtually stopped the propagation of people coming over here trying to deculturalize their culture, if that's a word, deculturalize. So they took all the beans back. They said, no, we are establishing for ourselves. This is our land, this is our language, and these are our laws, and this is our language, and you must follow them or you're going to be put out. Holy crap. Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta see if I'm seeing things or not. I gotta see if I'm seeing things or not. All right, y'all. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Sorry, I had y'all on hold. Should have had some music playing. But anyway, so man must establish land. Man must establish laws within that land. He cannot have chaos. He cannot have the infrastructure of his land falling apart because there is no discipline. There's no order. There is no correction. And there is no one falling in line to keep that land sacred and protected. And then man must establish language. Man must establish a natural separation between him and everyone else in order to keep his sanity. And that is language. Language is a natural separation. It's a natural separation that man must always establish first. Man must establish a natural separation, which is language. And that language, this is what I mean by they took all the beans back. They took all the beans back here in Costa Rica because they said, no, we're not allowing you to take our culture and make it yours. We're not allowing you to take our culture and make it a westernized culture like they did in Hawaii. They're like, we're not going to do that. We're still going to have some type of control over our land and our laws. And you're not going to come over here trying to make us speak like you speak. They don't want that. They want their language to be Spanish first. And they have Spanish as their first language. English barely even gets promoted to even be taught over here. It's almost like they don't want to learn English because it's a natural separation to know Spanish. It speaks Spanish to it when you're living in an English speaking country. But it's also an advantage when they come over to your country not knowing how to speak English and you speak English. But the fact of the matter is, the English language, just to be truthful, is a low vibrational language anyway. It's gotten down to the fourth and the fifth meaning of it. Then by that time, it loses all of its power. You understand? The words lose all of their power by the time you get to the fourth and fifth meaning of a word. Most English words have 4 and 5 different meanings. By the time you get to the fifth meaning of a word, like you can say one word and it can mean a bunch of different things in the English language. And that one word could be confusing, or it could be, it could make you feel like you're lost. So you have this one word, you use it, you take it, you establish power with that word. But you don't make it 5 different words, meanings. You give it one meaning. You don't make it 5 different meanings. In the English speaking language have 5 different meanings to one word. So it loses all of its power by the time you get down to the third and fourth meaning of the word. It loses all of its power. And that's what the English language can do. It can actually weaken your vibration. It can weaken your your voice box, because you are a natural being who speak in tones and frequencies, and you speak in different vibration of energy. You understand? You speak in a different vibrational field of energy. You should not be speaking English. You should be speaking energy. And energy, beloved, energy speaks in many forms. It speaks in light. It speaks in love. It speaks in peace and harmony. It speaks in joy. It speaks in passion for animals. It speaks in passion for people. It speaks. So that's why I have established words that I use still to this day, and I established these words in like 2019. I've established vegan for conscious. I'm not vegan. I'm a conscious eater. That means I'm very much aware of what I'm putting in my mouth. And everything that I'm putting in my mouth, I'm aware of it. You understand? I hope I made sense with what I said. I hope I made sense with what I said. Establish a language. I made up words. I don't use the English language anymore. Well, mostly. But words I have different meanings. Like I've established the word meal. I don't spell the word meal MEAL. I spell the word meal MHELL. EAL. Because I deal with meals that heals. With me, everything is about giving a meal. So I establish these things where I go around feeding people. As an ambassador of health, I must do this. So you got meals that heal, because heal meals meals with the H in it is silent. The H in meals is silent. But I got a different language. I don't say good morning. I say great sunrise. These are curse words. When you say good morning, you're using a curse word. You're using a curse word. Stop saying good morning. That's a real curse word. Say great sun rising or grand rising, whatever. Supreme rising. I don't eat vegan. I eat conscious. That means I'm very much aware of what I'm putting in my body. Every time I put something in my body, I'm aware of that. You understand? I'm aware of what's going in my body. I'm aware of all of that. So I got to establish a language. And that's why I have a language myself. I have a language. I have my own language. And I'm going to continue to create my own phrases for my own language. So you can be bilingual. You can speak energy. I want you to be bilingual. I want you to be able to speak energy, because I speak in light codes. I speak in light codes. It isn't just the word meal. I put an H in front of it. It isn't just the world fastest runner who get all the trophies and all that other stuff. Establish a language so that you can establish who you are in this world effectively. Okay? Look, I'm sorry, y'all, if I've been confusing y'all with some words. I'm a little tired now, so I think I'm going to just go ahead and cut this short. But as I said, establish your land, so you, for your dominance, establish your laws so that there's order and discipline within that land, and then establish your language. Create a natural separation from those who are on the other side. Create a natural born separation and honor that separation, because that separation is history, and it's a heritage. It's a part of your legacy. It's a part of history. It's a part of why you're even here. You understand? So keep yourself right. Keep yourself right. Go out there. Do what you do best. Do what you do best. Go be natural. Go be natural. And you will conquer land, which will eventually turn into what you desire for it to turn into. Create that language. Trade words out that you don't need or use and give them a different word or a different meaning. Okay? I gotta go. Y'all have a good night. Peace. Be well, be love, and be light.